As a sim racing content creator, there are certain things that get released that just scream out, make a video about that right now. Last night, Gary Patterson released this absolute beast, and when I discovered this fact at 5 AM on Christmas morning, you bet I fired up Assetto Corsa and Adobe Premiere. Hello fellow sim racers. If you've seen any of my other videos about historic circuits, then you'll have heard me lament the lack of pre-war cars in Assetto Corsa. This is very much a first world problem, of course, but given the sheer number of mods available for the sim, you would have thought that more than a couple would have filtered through by now. Whatever the case, this one is a beauty. Still at version 0.5 and, according to the creator, still very much a work in progress, it's obvious that this mod, like the car it was based on, is an absolute work of art. And really, I should have shot all of that footage during better lighting conditions to highlight that much, but I must admit to having a bit of a cold December morning vibe going on for some reason right now. The mid-1930s auto unions were pretty interesting. Supported financially by the German government and guided by Dr. Porsche himself, the car was pretty revolutionary at the time. The beastly 16-cylinder engine sat in the middle of the car, in front of the rear axle. Not the first of its kind to do so, but still far from common at the time. Speaking of beastly, by the time the car was revised to the Type C version featured in this mod, the subtle 6-litre V16 was producing a staggering 500 plus brake horsepower. Now, bear in mind that this was pretty much before anyone with a materials science background had bothered to take a look at the round black things on all four corners of the car. Not only was the engine powerful, but it was also rather adept at producing seemingly limitless torque at very low RPM. What this all adds up to is a car that was absolutely famous for producing wheel spin at well over 100 miles per hour. Or, to put it another way, this thing's nuts. And the mod captures that perfectly. While the car is mid-engined, there's still a rearward weight bias, 16 cylinders of it in fact. This certainly helps in the quest to translate some of that power into forward movement, though you'd perhaps be forgiven for thinking otherwise. You have to be extraordinarily careful with the throttle, more so than any other car I can think of. It's a car that makes the Can-Am Porsche feel relatively straightforward in that regard. And that famous tendency to wheel spin all the way through the gears is there in the mod as well. Get used to modulating the throttle on seemingly straight bits of tarmac, kids. Once you've settled in and got up to some speed, then there's the thorny issue of stopping, something that you have to prepare for well in advance, as it's going to be taking you a while. And then we get to corner entry, which is not the auto union's strongest aspect. With less weight than ideal on the front tyres, which were seemingly designed with the sole aim of keeping the front of the car off of the ground, it understeers like a fawn on a frozen lake. But when you do get the front end to bite, using all of that power to rotate the back of the car is absolutely glorious. All in all, it's a bit of a pig, but the challenge of driving it is thoroughly enjoyable, and that matches the reputation of the real car to a T. As I mentioned at the top of the video, the car is still version 0.5, so there are a few little kinks to work out, but even at this early stage, it's obvious that this one's going to be a crowd pleaser. Obviously, those with an interest in historic motorsport will be all over this, but I think this is a car that everyone should give a go, just to get a sense of what a car like this might have been like to drive. And as a final note, I think it's really important that we all peer pressure Jimmy into taking this around the Nordschleife because, well, that's going to be entertaining. If you're interested in trying out the Auto Union, it is of course available from Race Department, and there's a link in the video description. As always, if you enjoy the mod, you should consider donating to the creator. After all, it is Christmas. So that just about wraps things up here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, it would be great if you could hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you can see more videos like this in the future. So all that's left to say is goodbye, thank you for watching, and happy holidays.